and he collapsed right there. All of that come talk about. We have to get approval from the family to call an ambulance to pay $400 first to find out how, if they're gonna pay $400 before. Man, this is one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my entire worst experience I've ever had in my entire life.
We need to get up out of our comfortable bed and assist in carrying the cross or the weight of black people. Help Louis Farrakhan on the journey. Assist with the works of Brother Malcolm X, Marcus Messiah Garvey, Sister Jessica, the works of Paul Bogle, and the Right Excellent Michael Manley. Kensara Wiwa and any other person who are on that journey and identify themselves as Africans. We are one brothers or sisters. It's not free. In any part of the world, then no brother or sister is free. We should be our brother's keeper. Any space that we are present and a brother or sister in need of assistance, especially if their life is in trouble, and we ignore or we allow money to be the cause of us not helping, then we are responsible. We must never pass our brother or sister on the floor gapping or begging for help to save his life, and we just pass him by the wayside. We have a responsibility. If it's a situation where the person needs to be taken to the hospital, but I get a gas money, you can't move. If somebody is not there to pay the fare for you to take him to the hospital, then you don't move. An immediate brother from your mother, then I know nothing. He's not a friend. You have never seen him before, so you can just look like everybody. Stand up over him and look, or even walk past. Oh my God. I'm going to tell you a story that is gut-wrenching of a man, an elderly man, who leave home to board a flight, JetBlue, at the Sangsters International Airport. While waiting to board his flight, he collapsed and fell to the ground. Hit his head on the floor. Someone get his phone and call a number which is his family member and ask if they would stand an ambulance cost of $400. If they can't stand the cost, then they can't take him. The airport ambulance was not working, so that would be a private ambulance. And because they could not get the approval, they allowed him to stay there and die. But other person was in the airport who could have helped also. One lady shouted, "Get a taxi," and she would pay the fare. And I see her as an errand. I see her as Windy Mandela. I see her as a black woman. I see her as a true African. It hurts, Virgin. I will allow you to hear from this lady. Check it out.
Hi everyone. This is not something that I normally do. As a matter of fact, I've never done it before. But I believe that there is a need to do this today. I'm doing this. I'm live at this Sangsters International Airport on my way back home to America, taking flight JetBlue. So we arrived at the airport just about 11 o'clock there, or near 11 o'clock or a little bit after. We were at the gate, not the gate, sorry, the counter. Actually, I was at the kiosk, and while I was waiting at the kiosk, to operate the kiosk, a gentleman was behind me, one of the agents, speaking to another man. But I didn't pay them much attention, but I know they were talking. And then I just heard like somebody fell. I looked behind me. It was the passenger, an elderly man that fell. Blood was coming, I think, from his nose. And the agent who he was talking to, who had just stepped off for a little, just turned his back, turned around, and took up his head and tried to clear his passengers. And I was saying, somebody call 911 or 119, whatever the case is. And I was saying to him, give him CPR. But he said to me, he's breathing. He's breathing, and for truth, he was breathing and doing a little bit of shuffling, slight shuffling. So when I saw a lot of blood coming from his head, I couldn't see the wound, but the blood was on the floor on his head. So I went into his bag. I saw his passport. No, his passport was on the ground beside him. So I took it up, put it in his bag. I looked at his bag and I saw his name, the name tag on the bag. So I could say what his name was. And then I was saying to the gentleman, we were there conversing, and I said, somebody call help. So in the meantime, I guess somebody was making a call. Somebody did say that they called whatever. I think they said operations or something. Right? And while they were there, nobody, and it took about between 20 minutes and half an hour for a lone nurse to come by. Right? And while the man was there, while the young guy was there with him, trying to keep his head up and all of that, I went into his bag and I saw a roll of tissue. And I gave him the roll of tissue, the entire roll, and tell him to press it on the wound. Try to press it on the wound on the head. Anyways, the nurse finally came and she said she was checking his oxygen, in the meantime, I took out his phone. I got his phone and was searching his phone to see if we could find a recent number. And we were making calls using our phone. And because we couldn't place any calls on his phone. And then the JetBlue lady came and she took his phone and she went on the phone. Myself and her, we were going through what to find a number that we think we could call. So she called the number. While she was calling the number, another gentleman who came, I don't know who he represents, but he's with the airport. He's with the airport, he had on one of those vests. And he was saying, because we got through to the person on the phone, and the lady was telling him that, the customer, I won't say his name, the passenger, he collapsed, and he's at the airport. So she said she was trying to get somebody, He was there telling us to tell him, or telling the JetBlue lady to tell the person on the phone that the single ambulance that is at Cornwall Regional is not available. And for them to call a private ambulance, the person on the phone has to approve the payment of $400. They have to confirm that it's okay for them to call the ambulance and noting the payment of $400. So I said, we have to wait for them to do that to get help for the man. The man need help. I saw the man gap. I've never seen somebody gap, or what they call it, catch breath, in my entire life. First time I'm seeing that. Right? And the man was gapping. Right? And the man was saying, so I said, why you need to tell them that? Why you need to get $400, or to confirm that then we pay $400 before you call that? You understand? So that is stupid. So the nurse was saying, if they can't get the ambulance, then they'll get the taxi. Miss, get the taxi. I'll pay the money for him. I'll pay the taxi. Get the taxi. You understand? So they tried to let me know that it's protocol, and they have to get approval from the family member to call the ambulance, to call the private ambulance, which will cost $400. The man at the airport, waiting and ready to go back to America, taking JetBlue, right? And he would have paid his fare to go on the flight. So I'm saying, could not JetBlue or even the airport take that cost? They have to depend, or they have to wait until a family member says that it's okay to go ahead and call the ambulance. Mark, the man came to the airport, whoever got him there left him, an elderly man. Understand? And I'm saying, come on, man, that is how we do things here. The man stayed right there on the floor and died. The man died on the floor. He died. My God. Because people are going to talk about you have to get approval to call an ambulance Look how many people travel in the airport daily. Hundreds of thousands of people travel through the airport daily. And we don't have nothing in place for things like this. We don't have nothing in place for things like this. It just made me wonder if it was a white person, if it would have been the same treatment. I'm thinking this could happen to anybody. It could happen to me. It could happen to anybody at all, right? You know, just stay there and die. It takes so long to make a decision when people's life is dependent on it. We have to do better. Jamaica, JetBlue, I'm calling you out on this one because you should have been there for the man. You shouldn't be asking that question. He was your passenger and him at the airport and he was talking to an agent, right? Getting whatever information he needed to get on the plane to check in, and he collapsed right there. All of that come talk about. We have to get approval from the family to call an ambulance to pay $400 first to find out how if they're gonna pay $400 before. Man, this is one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my entire worst experience I've ever had in my entire life. You know, I'm calling out whoever is in charge of stuff like these, man. They need to do better. There should be an area in the airport to reach people. One ambulance, the Cornwall Regional Hospital, one ambulance, and because it is not available, a private ambulance has to be called, and before it is called, there has to be confirmation, right? Or whatever that the $400, it's okay to call them. We will pay the $400. Oh, Jesus. God help us. God help us, man.
It's sad, brethren, the way how people think. Some people is so selfish. Some tell us that they don't want to hear nothing about food parents, about no type of slavery. All we got here, they must know so them there. But you know why them say that most of the time? When they start get down to the history, it comes with sharing, caring, loving, being brothers and sisters keepers. And because they don't want to share, them enjoy segregation when it comes to first class, second class, and third class. Them enjoy being a bossy slave or any job to make them into a bossy slave. As them join the police force, the power get to them head. So they start angling up people, disrespecting people, violating people's rights. As them own a business, them start the slavery. Slave people. The person cannot do what they say. Hit the door. We need to look into ourselves. Don't care what we own, what we have. We are just flesh. We are dust. Nothing we can take with us. So we need to get into ourselves. And remember, chain is as strong as its weakest link. Together we stand tall, and divided we fall.